then she's called performing. Oh, she's performing. Oh, oh, she's in hustle mode. Oh, she's in grind. And see, women begin, they come up with these terms. When she doesn't want to do the work, she begin to come up with these terms to make herself feel intellectual. And that's why I had posted those videos just now, which I had stated intellectualism does not equate execution. Me and TSMM just had a whole session about that. I told my TSM Academy girls, y'all have to understand that intellectualism does not, it's a bonus. It's not the end all be all. But we come up with all these words, patriarchy, matriarchy, the grind, the systems, she can give you a whole breakdown of the system. She can give you a whole breakdown of how these things were constructed, who was the first president, who constructed this, da da da. It's all, thank you so much, Angel. It's
Okay, so where I don't particularly agree with this is that everyone is different. Everyone has different skills and ways that they're going about making money. Everybody isn't on this time crunch. You can be. It really depends on your definition of poor or impoverished. That's the first thing. Because if a person has everything they need, clothes to wear, food to eat, money to go where they need to go, money to enjoy themselves when they want to enjoy themselves, but it's tight, they could probably use a bit more, right? I don't think that it's always about their perception being more important than their state. Sometimes a person could recognize that my perception is extremely important to me. However, my state is even more important to me. You can feel that way all day, but at the end of the day, I'll give you an example. A woman who makes art, right? So she may make art and she wants her art to pop. So she may know, like, okay, I don't like social media at all. I have a problem with putting my identity online because even though that's the thing to do these days, that's how you keep up with the market, things like that, and, compete, whatever. I'll take a shot at doing this. She said, I draw the line at showing my face. I draw the line at wearing skimpy clothes to get clicks or click views or whatever. I just want to keep my brand pure. I want to keep my brand. Some people care about their brand or, whatever legacy that they want to create more than they care about necessarily their riches. And that, first of all, that's a personal choice. You can't knock somebody for their personal choice. However, if we're speaking about women who want to make money, who want to have a lot more money than they are bringing in, right? It takes time. Everybody isn't in a time crunch to make money like super fast. Some people are willing to take the time because sometimes making money and making it long term and keeping your funds coming in long term, more long term success, not just quick fast money that won't last. You won't have the same setup next year. You won't, that kind of thing, right? Some people are willing to take their time to make their funds because they want to do it in a way that does not compromise their values, their character, their beliefs, whatever they believe in. She might say, I don't want to show my face when I post my art or my paintings or whatever, right? So there's a lane. There's ways that you can do that. It just takes time for you to figure it out. It takes trial and error. Having morals and standards does not make you just like poor. I don't like how she just kind of generalizes that and kind of throws everyone who feels that way in a box, because that is the very thinking that robs humans of their humanness. Next thing you know, you'll look up and everything is cold, hard, rigid. The thing about femininity is that it should not be compromised. It's a reminder, because we all have it within us. Okay, there's men who are very feminine. So the thing about femininity is that it reminds us not to compromise ourselves for systems that were made without femininity in mind. That is extremely important to so many people out there. And I think it's dangerous to preach these kind of things. I don't know what she's selling or what type of memberships and classes that she's selling to people. But it's what her rhetoric is a little dangerous, because it's targeting specifically impoverished people. It's targeting people who are starting from zero and trying to get to 100. And I think that disregarding the fact that there is very toxic systems in place. For example, Donald Trump right now is signing executive orders and all types of policies that are stripping rights from people in ways it makes sense, but it's enforced in such a way to where it's very harmful for people. And this is just an example because his policies, you know, there's pros and cons to some of them. But yeah, something else. Oh yeah, like I would go back to that painter example. But say for example, a woman comes across a video or a movie or whatever documentary where she learns like exit through the gift shop, right? She may learn about Banksy. Those days she comes up with this whole idea. You know what? I don't even want people to know. You know, I want to make my art under a false name. I don't want them to know that I am a woman or a man or whomever. I just want to sell my art. They can find a way to make so much money with their art if they find creative ways that allow them to do so without sacrificing a part of themselves and their beliefs. And it's nothing wrong with encouraging people to use their intellect and their values that they clearly have and push them to still push past a point. Because I totally get what she's saying. I do actually agree that being intellectual, being smart, I don't think people say these things to sound smart at all. I truly do not agree with that in any way. I feel like when people speak this way, they're trying to not compromise a part of themselves in the way that they live for money solely. And I think that's incredibly important and even admirable because there are ways that you can pull yourself out of poverty without sacrificing your health, your beliefs, and going along and perpetuating a system that is not made to benefit anybody but the people that made it. Some things really just are some things really are archaic within the system, and it's not my fault that these words, and I take it a little personally, I'm not gonna lie, because I am a person who is going more of a slow route when it comes to building my brand and my business, but that's because there's a reason for that. I want it to be strong and stand the test of time. And the thing about the test of time is a lot of people are recognizing that this whole our whole government and our whole economy needs a do-over. It needs a makeover. It needs to come down and be rebuilt, or it needs to be re-examined. It needs to be, hey, take that out, or let's fix that. And I feel like people, our grandparents and their parents, they fell for this same thing she's preaching, and look where it got them now. Now today, people can't even buy houses. They can't even afford to buy homes, and people are falling victim to all sorts of things. What if people still went along with redlining? If you're into real estate or something of that sort, what if people didn't care about their government officials pocketing money and using taxpayers' dollars to pay for certain things, and regulations being updated and all these things, so that when you buy a house, whoever owned it, the bank or whatever, it's so intricate. It's like you can't generalize something like that. There's different avenues of business that people are involved in, and a lot of our policies just do not help us at this time. And that is just the thing. Like, people, billionaires and millionaires, will tell you this very thing, that they figured out how to navigate without using necessarily the system, or they use the system to help them, but they made it work for them. But then they got to a place where they did not need it. I'm gonna come with more examples. You know, I mean, to be honest with you, I do think it's a little strange, like what she's saying, and even the temperance and the energy that's coming with what she's saying. And it makes me wonder who her target audience is, and also her intent and her intention, well, yeah, her intentions behind this sort of message. Is it personal? Is it were you triggered? Like, are you really trying to help people? Is it coming from a place of tough love, like wanting to help? Because right now what it's sounding like is that you feel maybe a little bit slighted or like a little judgmental towards people who operate from a certain place when it comes to business. Maybe it irritates you because they're not getting to the money fast enough, or because they have interests that you just have no idea about or no knowledge on, and you're just trying to like sell them the product or get them on board with what you have going on, when these people that you're talking to, they're just, everybody's not made to walk in the same line or sketch with the same pencil or exist in the same lane or get to certain places in a similar way. I'm trying to take the meat and leave the bones with this one, but it totally feels as though the only thing I can take away from this is that, like, do not stop yourself at intellect. Like, you must push past what you know and figure out a way to apply it that helps you in your life with whatever your business goals are. And there's a way to do that. It just takes trial and error. It takes willing to look foolish. It takes trying things. I already said trial and error, so same thing. Trying things, failing, and just finding a dance or a groove that makes sense to you and it works. Like, even if it starts slow, even if the money builds slow, you build off of that and you find new ways to elevate what you're already doing. For example, if you teach anything and you people paying for your courses or paying for your talks, you may start off with 2 people. You may see, okay, they really respond very well when I teach them about dog care. So I'm going to make more videos about dog care, and then I'm going to build upon that. Maybe I'm going to take it from this one platform and I'm going to make myself a website so that they can only come to my website. And then if my website is doing well, then I'm going to figure out how I can build traffic. You have to, each person's thing is going to take a little something a little bit different. Working within a system is important, but feeling as though you want to challenge something within a system is important and necessary, and also just as necessary. The thing is, people have to still act. You cannot, I agree with the fact that you still have to act. Like, you cannot be stagnant. You can't be complacent with where you are in life, or just afraid to challenge a system or find new ways that you have no clue about. I think that's the answer to what she's talking about. But just adapting to hustle culture. Women didn't create hustle culture. Women, I feel like that was more of a millennial, like, it's more of a like generational thing. It's not like a gender thing. And the thing about women is, depending on what kind of woman you are and depending on your makeup, you might be a woman with high metabolism. You have a lot of physical energy. You may be able-bodied. You can get a lot done at once. You may not have a lot of beliefs that keep you from doing certain things or learning certain things or getting your hands dirty or whatever. And so you may get to money a lot faster than a woman who may not be as energized as you. She may not be able-bodied. She may be religious. She may be married. She may have children. Like, it's all different for each different person in their life. So if we're talking about women specifically, I will say that a lot of people like to, and it's nothing wrong with this, I think it's a gorgeous thing, it's something I believe in as well. Sometimes people like to consider their biology for example, if you are a white person, no offense to white people, right? If you know that you are super sensitive to heat and sun, you probably would be less inclined to take a construction job, long term. Maybe you'll do it short term, maybe not at all. But if you know that you can't handle that, and maybe you're allergic to dust, you got all these allergies, you're not that strong in your body, you'd be less inclined, right, to take a construction job where you're working all day in the heat with wood chips and dust and dander flying all over your face all day. You'd be more inclined to go find a secretary job. Maybe finding secretary jobs is a little bit tough in your area. Maybe there's not a lot hiring. Maybe the ones that are hiring are looking for women to be at the front desk. Maybe you need to move to a different area. Maybe you need to find a job that you're not that familiar with. Maybe you've never been a barista, but you might want to learn a little bit about coffee and drink making and customer service. So it's like I said, it's just about trying things, new things, being willing to move, being willing to learn a language. So yeah, some things really do require mental agility. Some people have mental agility, some people don't. So what people choose to do and how they choose to make money just really depends on what their abilities are. So it's not people's fault that their strong suits, they're not finding ways to make money that doesn't fit their strong suits or whatever. If anything, it is their fault that they're not like seeking it out with hunger, because obviously that you were right, that is a very important thing. If you are trying to pull yourself by the bootstraps and pull yourself out of poverty, it's not the same as back in the day. But these days, I will say there's a lot of money out here. There is a lot of easier ways to do things. It really depends on the person, like it really does. So I just want to comment on that because this was very generalized. It felt very kind of icky, I'm not gonna lie, because it felt very like a little bit yeah, it seemed a little like judgmental, or like it felt personal, like it was coming from like a personal place or something. I don't know, I'm not trying to accuse her of that, but it felt kind of personal. Yeah, I would gonna leave this by saying this, like if you are one of those people that she's describing, just try things you've never tried before, and know that there are roles and spaces that will fit you and bring you in income. But if you want to, you know, be familiar with that kind of stuff, I say just find women who are similar to you, who are making money, and just see what they're doing. And if selling courses sounds too much like scamming to you, or it's not something that you're interested in, blah, 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 there's other routes to apply your intellect. Sometimes you have, you can, find loans. Like, I don't want to give too much of the sauce in this video. I'll say that for another video. So just subscribe, like, turn your notifications on if you are interested in anything that I talk about here. And yeah, we can grow together. Peace. Oh my gosh, thank you, Holy Spirit. Okay, so if you know me, you know that I am a believer in the Most High. I'm not religious, but I definitely believe in higher power, a beautiful, divine presence of love that blesses us all and aligns us to our most natural selves. Okay, with that being said, I was informed to use myself as an example. Perfect example to use. Mwah, bellissimo. Okay, so, boom, right? So when I was in college, I was a dance major. I was a little bit, I love being a dancer. I love perfecting my craft, but I was always a little skeptical about, taking that on as a major. So I was always looking to switch it up and see what else I can do. But anyways, like I had already been like learning French my whole life. I was sort of like fluent when I was like a lot younger, but when I didn't have a lot of people to practice with or try to keep up the language, I lost a lot of it. But I was like, you know what, I'll become a French teacher, and I'll become an English teacher in like France or another French speaking country, because that way I can kind of combine all of my talents. So I thought, I'd teach English in France. That way I can teach the language that is my first language while perfecting the language that I'm learning. And because I'm dancing, I could find any dance school or dance house to basically, not school, but like dance house to be a part of. So that was like a huge plan for me, especially since I'm like huge with movement, love ballet, right? So I'm thinking that will be perfect for me. I did not factor in the fact that I would have physical disabilities like very young, starting at 23 years old. And I did not have any money in college. So that's another thing. I did not have any support. And I was not willing to throw away my intellect, like my school career, just to make money, because then it's just like, okay, how can I go be a teacher if I don't get my degree, right? I didn't learn until after college that you can go work as a teacher without a degree per se, because you could be a TA, you could be blah, 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 blah. There was all these things I just was not aware of. So sometimes you just do not have access to information. Back at that time when I was in school, back in like 2014, dropped out in 2016, like the world was also very different there. So the world is always changing and evolving. We must consider that, right? A lot of systems naturally fall away due to being archaic, but I will move on to a different point. All right, so when I moved to a new city to work and, grow myself as a person or whatever, and just to like align my work more so to my lifestyle as well, because now I'm a physically disabled person, obviously the way that I work will look completely different. So I had a friend who worked for Revolt. I was her nanny. Keep in mind, I did not have a lot of childcare experience, but I did have experience with being a teacher somewhat, like a summer school teacher. I've been a camp counselor, right? So my intellect, right? My smarts, my intelligence, okay? And I'm not trying to mock her accent. I'm just more so kind of trying to show her how she's coming off, because it was kind of very distasteful in my opinion, the energy of her talk. But anyways, child, I was like, you know what? Let me create a business for myself. So what I did, I created a nannying business in LA, because I live in LA, and I'm like, this can make me a lot of money because I'm in a space where it happens to be a lot of affluent people who need childcare, and sometimes they prefer someone who's young, who can keep up with their young kids or whatever, right? And sometimes they don't need you to have like kids yourself or a car. Sometimes they just need you to have experience with children. And I knew that I would only be able to accept certain jobs because I didn't have a car and blah, 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 right? So I figured out a way to find clients who needed exactly what I was looking for. And I found all the websites that were hiring nannies. Some of them I signed myself up for. Otherwise, I just put like an ad out on different websites, and that got me really good clientele. Through that job, I actually got offered a job to work for Pigeons and Planes. Is it Pigeons and Planes? I think so. And Revolt TV as well. Pigeons and Planes I was open to. I applied for the job, didn't get it, but I think it's because they had hired somebody, or the job that they were needing someone for, I think they didn't need someone for it anymore. As far as Revolt TV goes, I was totally open to working for them. And somehow I think they might be connected. I don't know, that's beside the point. But today, and even then, with some of the things I knew, I was a little bit hesitant to take that job as well, because the person who owned the company, I knew that I'm a person who has certain beliefs. Like if I know that this company is like Amazon or whatever, is supporting, taking away DEI rights, or helping to tear down our rainforest, helping troops be sent to destroy innocent people, I'm not gonna, you get what I'm saying? I'm not gonna, sometimes people have morals, right? And, or beliefs that they just believe in. So I did not take that job because I wasn't sure if it fit the fact that I have beliefs. Like I've had jobs already that had nothing to do with that. I've had jobs, I worked in grocery stores, I've been a barista, I've been in customer service, and I've quit jobs or left jobs due to our beliefs not aligning. So that's just a thing that happens. And for people like that, you're always gonna be finding your pivot. And I know you're big on pivot because I saw your page and you touched on that a bit. So everybody isn't okay with just stopping at being smart. Everybody isn't comfortable in poverty. And I do agree that sometimes you do have to put a fire under your ass to get things done and to make money to take care of yourself, but you don't have to compromise yourself or your beliefs to do so. So I just want to say that, okay? And yeah.